but we're also a little confused. This show is supposed to be about Star Trek, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to make a point that Star Wars fans can also be Star Trek fans. And I also have a lot more Star Wars 3D models than Star Trek ones.
Okay. We have you clear for platform 840, please.
Mom, Dad's home.
The Rise of Skywalker has left me scarred and exhausted with Star Wars.
Mom, Dad's upset about Star Wars again.
And the Mandalorian doesn't even come back until the end of the year. If only there was something new to watch.
Day 3 says Picard first episode is out.
I almost forgot there's new Star Trek.
Dad, what is Star Trek?
What? You have lived under this house all this time, and you've never watched Star Trek?
We've been hung up with Star Wars this whole time.
Yeah, but there's Star Trek stuff right behind you here on this wall. And even your mother comes from a family of Trekkies. I mean, she was named after Spock's mom, for Cisco's sake. Surely she showed you an episode or two.
No, not really. Isn't Star Trek for nerds anyway?
You dare dishonor this house by dissing Star Trek and nerds?
All I know is you met Mom on Deep Space Nine. And sometimes you talk like a Klingon or whatever that is.
They are called Klingons. And do I look satisfied with that explanation?
What do you look like under there?
Someone who loves you.
Never mind.
We can't brush aside the fact that my own son has never watched Star Trek.
Mom was wondering if he'd help me with his homework.
We've got strange new worlds to explore. Besides, you'll never need whatever this is. To the Trek Museum! Behold! Everything here comes from the many different Star Trek series and movies over the years. What makes Star Trek different than most other sci-fi franchises is its hopeful view of a future that isn't completely terrible, but rather optimistic, with a quality of life that's better for almost everyone. Where diversity is celebrated and conflicts are resolved peacefully. And are you okay?
How did you get us here?
It's a trick I learned from your Trekkie mother.
What trick?
Editing! Oh look, hey, they got Star Trek uniforms for kids. Come on, let's put one on you and go look around.
Are you ready to act in a scene from Star Trek?
That was cool, but how is it supposed to teach me about the show?
We need to head back and watch an episode. Back to the nerd wall!
Stop doing that!
Sorry, once you start using a fast travel mechanic, it's kind of hard to let go of it.
Change their clothes.
It probably doesn't make sense to do this in my work clothes anyway.
So, a question I've seen on Reddit asks, I'm new to Star Trek. Where should I start?
Well, buddy, now that you're 13 and legally a man according to the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, I think we should start where I did when I was your age, with the first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. And with Picard out now, it'll also be good to compare and contrast the first episodes of both series to each other.
Before we start, can you please take that ridiculous thing off and let go of Star Wars?
I don't want...
Dad, it's time for all of us to let go of Star Wars for a while. You can put on the helmet again if there's ever trouble. Or when Mandalorian Season 2 comes out.
Okay, but I warned you.
See, I look just like every other pasty-faced nerd who's 30 pounds overweight who complains about pop culture on the internet.
What makes you and I different then?
Because of School of Trek's Prime Directive. While I believe nitpicking is a core tenet of being a Trekkie and it's hard-coded into our DNA, we're not here to argue over how many warp coils the ship had last week versus what it says it has this week, or which phaser bank it should have used in this fight. I feel like every other channel does that. So instead of deriding any particular episode that we happen to be watching for having a minor script or technical detail that doesn't match up with a previous or future episode, let's just repeat to ourselves, it's just a TV show. Just relax and totally make fun of it. Unless it's something glaringly obvious, then we totally have to call it out. I mean, that we can't let certain things slide. I mean, a throwaway technical detail or minor inconsistency shouldn't really detract us from the story the episode was trying to tell at the time.
That makes sense.
And since we're calling this School of Trek, aside from teaching you Star Trek trivia and history, we better also try to learn something about life, the universe. Do you have any ideas?
Wait, what about that book you have?
What book?
The book where you learn everything about Star Trek.
Oh yeah, this book! All I really needed to know, I learned from watching Star Trek by Dave I mean, this guy wrote an entire book based off the premise. So, I mean, it's got to be worth something. Otherwise, we don't have a premise for this show, so let's just go with what we've got. Keep an eye out for useful advice, and let's watch Encounter at Farpoint.
Let's watch some Star Trek.
Engage. Okay, Paul, so we just finished watching Encounter at Farpoint. What happened? What was it about?
Starfleet being put on trial by Q and redeeming themselves by saving 2 giant space jellyfish.
We're going to do things a little differently than a normal review where we just repeat everything that happened and talk about it. We're actually going to count down the top 5 things we learned from Encounter at Farpoint. So number 1, choose your words wisely. When speaking to an all-powerful entity who can make whatever you say become reality, you should probably be very careful in what you say and how you say it so you avoid giving them ideas to torment you with.
We've no fear of what the true facts about us will reveal.
Facts about you? Splendid, splendid, Captain. You're a veritable fountain of good ideas.
There are preparations to make, but when we next meet, Captain, we'll proceed exactly as you suggest.
Crap, what did I just do?
But if you want it to go the right way, you should use reverse psychology.
You think reverse psychology would work on a Q?
Who knows?
Oh, you know what? I know it actually works.
What?
Cisco in Deep Space Nine, he didn't use reverse psychology. He just straight up punched him in the face. And then Q never came back to Deep Space Nine ever again. So I think Cisco was onto something.
You hit me. Picard never hit me. I'm not Picard.
Number 2, Star Trek has a lot of blinking lights that don't do anything.
I've heard of your case. The visor appliance you wear is
a remarkable piece of bioelectronic engineering by which I, quote, see much of the EM spectrum, ranging from simple heat and infrared.
Sorry, I'm just distracted by those blinking lights on the side of his face.
What are they for?
You know, I have no idea. I mean, because a lot of things in Star Trek have blinking lights for no reason. It's actually a running gag.
What have you found? All I found is that these red lights keep moving back and forth. Aside from that, this thing seems to have no other function whatsoever, sir.
Well, that's impossible. It must have some sort of function. I mean, why would the government put all that money into a thing with red lights that keep going back and forth? Doesn't make any sense. Keep working on it.
Sir, these lights keep blinking out of sequence, sir.
I see.
What should we do about it, sir?
Get them to blink in sequence.
You.
Yeah, and apparently they don't do anything helpful either, because despite Geordi's explanation about how useful his visor is, it ends up not being useful at all.
But these tunnel walls are something I've never seen before, sir.
How are you examining them, Geordi?
In every way. Microscopically, thermally, electromagnetically. None of it is familiar.
So then why did they go through that whole spiel about what it can do when it doesn't work when they need it?
And Geordi, I want your eyes down there. Geordi, what do you see?
Well, it's of no material I recognize, sir, or have even heard of.
Wow, his visor's just totally useless.
Number 3, get off Picard's damn bridge.
Children are not allowed on the bridge.
Now, who's your favorite character so far out of all the characters we've come across?
Picard and Data.
Why Picard?
He's the captain. He's cool.
What can you tell me about him so far?
He's old and bold, but even older than Picard. And funny.
He's funny? What makes you laugh? What's funny about him?
Get off my dang bridge!
Oh, yeah, he does want people off his bridge a lot.
I'm sorry. Wes, you shouldn't touch
Get off the bridge. Both of you.
Uh-oh, somebody's about to get a hell to get off my damn bridge.
Why? Do you use other
It
life
looks like
forms for your recreation?
If so, you've not provided the best.
Leave us. We've passed your little test.
Temper won't get me down.
Gotta be.
Get off my ship.
There we go.
I do so only because it suits me to leave.
So, in Data, what did you like about Data?
He was the only one that was useful and smart.
Objection, Your Honor. In the year 2036, the new United Nations declared that no Earth citizen could be made to answer for the crimes of his race or forebear.
And I have all the data.
Explain how you remember that so exactly.
I remember every fact I'm exposed to, sir.
He does have one disadvantage, though.
Anything unusual? I can't see as well as Geordi, sir. But so far, the material seems rather ordinary.
Yeah, everybody else seemed to have trouble doing the things they were
assigned to do.
Counselor, at this point, I'm open to guesses about what we've just met.
It felt like something beyond what we'd consider a life form.
Beyond?
Very, very advanced, sir, or certainly very, very different.
She's not very helpful, is she?
She is.
All she does is, like, repeat what she's feeling.
Pain. Loneliness. Despair.
She can state the obvious, and she can say the names of emotions.
Anger. Hate. A feeling of great joy. And gratitude. Great joy. And gratitude.
Yeah, we heard that the first time. Thank you, Counselor. That's very helpful.
You will command the saucer section, Lieutenant.
I'm a Klingon, sir. For me to seek escape when my captain goes into battle...
You are a Starfleet officer, Lieutenant.
Aye, sir.
That's like his whole story arc from the beginning of TNG to, like, Deep Space Nine. He's always been struggling with the fact that he's, you know, a Klingon, and his duty is Starfleet. So it's pretty cool to see that they set that up, like, immediately. And that's pretty much the only character development he gets, but it's still pretty cool to see.
Thou art directed to return to thine own solar system immediately.
Previously on Star Trek: The Next Generation. So they're just making him watch a rerun. I've seen this already. I'm out of it.
Adjust pitch angle. -3 degrees.
And they make him parallel park the ship. 6 hours later.
Just 30.
Wow, this really does go on forever.
And now let's stare at it.
Damn, I'm good. Can we please cut away from this now? Number 4. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. Say you're visiting a mysterious station on the edge of the Federation.
If there's an apple. I'm sorry, Commander. Oh, it doesn't matter. What I was saying was...
And whenever you casually mention something that's missing, or that something's not there that would make you happy with the place...
I'll be damned.
It just magically appears.
Grapper, I could have sworn this wasn't here a minute ago.
And did your failure to notice it make it unwelcome?
Investigating some things that I've noticed since I've been here. The last was a piece of
Gold
fruit.
would be lovely with this.
I had asked for an apple.
I am sure, Commander, there are reasons for a first officer to want to demonstrate his energy and alertness to a new captain.
He's trying to point out things are not what they seem, and all she cares about is, like, buying cloth.
But since my duty and interests are outside the command structure...
Isn't it remarkable he happened to have exactly what you asked for?
Thank you. I'll take the entire bolt. Send it to our starship when it arrives. Charge to Dr. Crusher.
Actually, I don't work here, lady. Mom, I don't think this guy works here. And that leads us to number 5. Love conquers all. Provided you also have a Galaxy-class starship ready to shoot a specialized beam for you. So what was that other jellyfish going to do if the Enterprise wasn't there?
Maybe try to make its own beam. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the Enterprise just did its work for them. So did you like this episode?
It was pretty good.
Cool. So is this a show you would want to watch if it were on today?
Yes.
Let's go over the top 5 things we learned from the first episode of Picard, Remembrance.
You've never agreed to an interview before, so thank you for inviting the galaxy into your study.
Number 1. CNN still sucks in the future.
He was hailed as one of our galaxy's most
CNN logo, why do they have to do that? I mean, I'm sure it was meant to be a harmless throwaway gag, and we shouldn't really pick on it too much, but this is one of the things I don't like about the bad robot guys and their version of Star Trek, because a lot of people today feel like things like CNN are part of the problem.
Which is one of the reasons...
You can't tell us how you felt, but your initial actions were to call for a massive relocation of Romulans?
The Romulans asked for our help.
And things are supposed to be better, and so when they show something like that, real-world product placement or companies as part of the Federation, having made it all the way to the future, it just like cheapens like the fantastic future of what Star Trek is supposed to be.
And I believed we had a profound obligation to give it.
Many felt there were better uses for our resources than aiding the Federation's oldest enemy.
Well, fortunately, the Federation chose to support the rescue effort.
Picard is one of the people you should not mess around with. He'll ban you from his bridge for life and probably kick you out of his house.
We're done here.
Number 2. Future cell phones are super complicated.
All that just to use Google Maps.
It's basically having like a Mac computer on your phone.
You think Macs are complicated?
Look at all that right there.
Well, that's just icons and programs and stuff. I mean, if you think that's a user interface that's visual, if you think that's complicated, you should try Linux. I mean, because you got to type everything. So this is...
Oh, no. Yeah. Typing.
Imagine just seeing a black screen and all you do is enter text.
No.
Number 3, starships apparently don't exist anymore. So did everyone trade in starships for shuttlecraft? I mean, the only ship we're ever shown is the Enterprise in a flashback. And as much as this is probably just a nitpick, and I already said we're going to do our best to shy away from complaining about minor details, this is a different kind of point I want to make, because I hope the showrunners realize and acknowledge that starships in Star Trek are important characters in themselves. I mean, yeah, we shouldn't argue about the arbitrary details or the capabilities of each one, as those can change from script to script and episode to episode, but starships have a life and a feel of their own, and we could become attached to them like we become attached to a character like Worf or Data or Picard. They're iconic. So please, guys, remember that starships exist.
And something I want to add.
Yeah.
The Enterprise also was in the intro, but was not put in as a way I thought it would actually be put in. I was thinking they would recreate the actual intro scene from like Farpoint or something.
Oh, the Next Generation interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Number 4, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. So Picard was always having bad dreams. And it seems that now that he's older, he's preferring his nightmares to reality.
I don't want the game to end.
Because in there, Data isn't dead, and Picard doesn't have to deal with the guilt that Data sacrificed himself to save him.
Couldn't they just rebuild Data with the neuron that might be out there?
You know, I get the feeling that that's what the show is going to be leading up to. Kind of like how there's a search for Spock. Kirk and everybody have to go bring Spock back to life. I feel like this is kind of going to do that, but for Data. At least
And
that's
I
what it
think
sounds
they're
like.
going to use the B4 thing.
That would make sense. Like, go find whatever. What was it? They had to find the neuron.
Like
Data.
a neuron, at least.
So they have to go find one of Data's neurons, which I guess the other girl might have part of inside her, and then they put it in B4, and then we get Data back at the end. Maybe, I don't know.
I could work with that.
Number 5, get busy living or get busy dying. Picard, realizing that being grumpy and drinking tea, Earl Grey, decaf, isn't going to change the world or bring the android girl back, he decides to go out and make a difference.
That's all.
No, Admiral.
I haven't been living. I've been waiting to die.
Overall, I guess I like the episode. I mean, first episodes of all the Star Trek series, with the exception of Deep Space Nine, which was a perfect first episode. They're usually not very good, but it does answer a few things. Like from the trailer, I was wondering what the deal with the girl was, and I like that they kind of just get that out of the way. We know that she's basically an android. I still suspect that she's going to be the new Borg Queen. I like that Picard is still Picard. You know, he's got the same principles, or at least the little we've seen of him so far seems to suggest that he's still who he is, at least how I remember him to be. Especially with how he reacted to the girl possibly being Data's daughter.
You're telling me that I'm not real.
No, I'm not. If you are who I think you are dear to me in ways that you can't understand.
I found that very warm and genuine and totally how Picard would react. I like how they made a big deal of him being winded. It's a little unexpected, but hopefully it means they're going back to playing up the diplomatic version of Picard, who used to make great speeches. Speaking of which, we will see one of the best speeches of Picard next week when we review Measure of a Man.
What is it about?
Well, it's another court trial, but this time instead of Q putting humanity on trial for being human, it's Starfleet puts Data on trial for being a robot instead of human. You know, maybe Q had a point.
Next time on Star Trek, The Next Generation.
It's unjustified, it's unfair. He has rights.
A Starfleet experiment threatens to dismantle Data for android research.
And what's at stake? My very life.
No, Captain Picard is Data's last hope for survival.
What is he? A machine.
And now a man will shut it off.
Objection.
On Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Quiz time.
Wait, what?
It wouldn't be right to call our show School of Trek if I didn't test you.
Man, I thought YouTube was going to be fun.
Everybody does. Alright, so the rules are simple. You're a ship going to warp. So for each question you get right, you increase in your warp factor. Alright? I'm going to give you 10 questions. If you can get to warp 10, you will be a Star Trek trivia master.
Okay.
Number 1. Finish this sentence. Star Trek, the next blank.
Generation.
Ah, you got it. All right. Number 2. What? Hey, don't peek.
It wasn't peeking.
You're cheating. You're cheating already at Star Trek.
You don't even have the answers on there. I know.
How do you know I don't have the answers on there? Maybe I have them in my head. Number 2. What type of robot is Data? A. Android. B. Borg. Or C. Synthetic.
It depends on what show you're talking about. In Picard, they're called synthetics, and in Next Generation, they're called androids. So which one do you mean?
You're right, actually. So I'll give you 2 points for that one. So you are now at warp 3.
Cool.
So, number 3. What is Picard's first name?
Jean-Luc.
You got it. All right. Number 4. Worf is a member of what alien race?
Cleon.
Good job. Number 5. What was the girl's name in Picard?
Doge.
Even I don't remember that. Number 6. What was the name of the outpost in Encounter at Farpoint?
Farpoint Station.
There you go. That was a little bit of an easy question. All right. Number 7. Counselor Troy is half human and half what?
I still forget that one.
Number 8. What is the maximum warp speed?
10.
Good job. Number 9. What do the blinking lights on Geordi's visor mean?
Nothing.
Are you sure?
Yes.
We don't know. They could mean something.
I do have a prediction. I think they're like backup cameras. Like like night vision backup cameras. So when it loses visor, he could at least see. It would like take a picture of what's around him and then put it into his brain like emotion.
They should totally write that in because I like that answer a lot. Finish this one. NCC dash. It's the registry number of the ship, like the license plate. What's the license plate of the Enterprise?
298.
298. Why 298?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's wrong. And you are at warp 9, very close. You did way better than I expected. I have to make these questions harder in the future. How about a bonus question?
Okay.
What is Q's first name?
Q. You can't give me twice back.
You're right.
Hey, Paul here. This was our first episode, and thank you for watching. If you liked this, please click the like button. This episode was very hard to make. We've shot it 30 million times, and we finally got it done. If you liked it and you want to see more, click the subscribe button. If you want to stay notified, click the bell. We plan to have new episodes every Wednesday. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Actually, Paul, no, that's the wrong franchise. It's supposed to be Live Long and Prosper.
Oh. So should I do this?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Live long and prosper.